A new hand touches the disc, or whatever. Hi, my name is Holden. I produce music as DJ Wuxsoplunty. I also make video game mods. Hopefully I can talk about modding and music making on Disc 3. Hopefully. I have quite a few projects in the works so far. Hello there, Steel Carnelian. We'll get to you later. But for my first video on this channel, I wanted to talk about a modding project I'm involved in already. I'm going to loosely call to it as SEO Dynamite, Plumber Royale. As the name implies, we're essentially duct taping Mario to Fortnite here and calling it a day, which is a lot more complicated than you might think. This devlog is going to be a tale of coding, collaborations, perhaps a whole lot of clever asset reuse. While the first release of this project, which is going to be a mini battle royale for up to 16 players, is still a good way away, I think there's a lot of interesting tidbits to share already from the development of this big-ass mod. The idea to scale the Battle Royale cliff as it is comes from the hours I've already spent messing around in Mario 64 Coop DX. As a PC port of the game with 16-player co-op and minimal desync, it already comes with a multiplayer arena shooter mode, and that's just a modification you can just toggle on. Of all the Mario 64 PC co-op mods I've played so far, I'd say Arena has the most replayability by far, and the desire to make more stuff for it is how I cut my teeth on the port's weird mixture of C++ and Lua code already. If you play Coop DX, you might actually recognize a few of my mods already. I've ported Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1's warehouse into an arena map, I ported Final Fantasy VII's Overworld into a hangout spot, and I made a few Pokemon models along the way that have gotten more downloads than I actually expected them to ever do. The Lua side of Coop DX is surprisingly versatile. Maybe it's just because I never got into Roblox coding as a tween, but I'm frequently amazed how much can be done without a lick of C+ knowledge. Not that it doesn't help, of course. As I amassed more Lua knowledge over time, the desire to make a new mode for co-op off the bones of the Arena framework began to really set in. Part of this desire lies in the wanting for a healthy PC co-op community. While interest in modding for the branch is still going, it's definitely waned a bit in the year that Mario co-op has been a thing. Makes sense, most of the 64 modders nowadays would rather see what they can pull off on original hardware rather than go to the trouble of making Mario in a Gmod. Considering Mario 64 has already been pretty much more or less ported to Gmod, I can see why. But I think it would be interesting to see what can be done in the Mario 64 engine, provided that all the limits have been yanked out. I want the Coop DX community to thrive and attract new people. Thus, I have the desire to do something with Mario 64 that could only really be done in Coop DX. Something nice and replayable for game nights, hopefully just as moddable as the rest of the system. Does that work? Does that work as a justification for the Mario Fortnite publicity stunt? We're gonna have to pretend it does. So about a month or two ago, I began coding Lua to see if I could remake some of the core tenets of the Battle Royale genre. Starting with the all-encompassing circle. While the true start of this was making a big enough box to qualify as a Battle Royale map, the circle was of course immediately next. I began coding ways to spawn in the model of a giant circle and rapidly shrink its scale over a lerp. As you can see from this early footage, I really shouldn't have textured it like that. It looks bad. I change it out, don't worry. Now I wasn't sure about making a mini-map at this point or not, so the decision here was to make the next circle's location a visible object, a similar circle, only blue. By this point it was getting tricky to work this all into Mario 64's codebase, so I had to keep going back and forth through Coop DX's official Discord technical chat, asking for help with ways to randomize a circle's spawn and then lerp that. And that's when I got pretty lucky, because my work started catching the attention of a really smart modder for Coop DX, one by the username of the Incredible Holc. Holc's had a hand in some of the most ambitious mods I've ever seen for Coop DX, including the Gore Frogger mod and the Gore Hard Mode mod. He likes Gore. I know it's gonna sound like a cop-out for this part of the video to essentially be, and then I remoored myself onto the shark of a more powerful modder, one who had an existing codebase to crib from and provide advice and all that. But I firmly believe that sometimes you just gotta put yourself out there and get interest from like-minded modders who are also interested in seeing a battle royale with Italians exist. Help, feedback, working with others, that's how a lot of big mods for games exist in the first place. No man is an island. I think that's Yoshi's job, actually. And so with Holc on board, things really start to mature from here. He's now helping me out in many areas of the code when he can, particularly the incredibly tricky bit of syncing things to multiplayer. God, that sucks. Getting the circles to work with more than one player and not be in different positions entirely per player, that was a trial. Maybe a short-term trial, but a trial nonetheless. Multiplayer coding is something else, kids. At this point in the footage, you can definitely see me sculpting more of the game mode besides just the circle. You can see me working on a UI to select what area you want to spawn in, since a battle bus setup would just not really work on such a small map in my opinion. You can also see work on making the terrain actual terrain instead of such a flat box at this point. Hulk had a big breakthrough here, working on functioning item boxes to mimic loot chests in kind of a Mario fashion. Those had to be synced up in multiplayer too, which should tell you a lot. Now you can see the foundations of Battle Royale hijinks. We've already implemented the first weapon, a full-on sniper rifle that was cribbed asset-wise from Gore Frogger. While this intro video isn't very code-heavy, I should note that Frogger's existing codebase is a very important resource from here onwards to help shape the mod. And that's what we've been doing these past few weeks, essentially shaping things when we have the time and aren't working on yard projects. I wrote a few music tracks in the meantime to score the background of the mode, some of which you can hear in the background music of this video. Hopefully it sounds decent. In addition, I'm also working on level design because the Battle Royale is nothing without the map. We'll probably start incorporating the arena guns soon to turn those weapons into Battle Royale weapons, and of course polish. I can't wait to make a second devlog about this, as I think the mod will put some more life back into the Coop DX community. Hopefully you can play this soon. Okay, that about does it for this video. If you want to check out more of what I do as a person, I usually do music. You can check out my music links right here if you're interested in me. I made a Pizza Tower remix. You might like it.